Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Average Uninformed. This week we are checking out The Incredible Hulk, starring Edward Norton, Liv Tyler, and William Hurt. Grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy.
Oh, okay. So if you were looking at our videos on SoundCloud or YouTube or whatever, and you're like, hey, where's last week's episode? We had some technical difficulties with it. We're figuring it out. We're going to put the episode back up as soon as we figure it out. Or maybe it's already up. Who's to say? I don't know. But yeah, that's why it's down if you're looking for it. Enjoy this episode.
Bam. Sounds good to me, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, you start that.
I'll finish chewing my ice first.
Yeah, you grind that baby down. Oh, so I've been doing this thing where I'm having trouble sleeping, so I put Netflix on my phone and I let it play, and I fall asleep to that. Watching Voyager right now.
Star Trek Voyager?
Yeah. So I fell asleep, and usually Netflix is it lets you play 3 episodes before it turns itself off.
And then it does that thing.
Are you still watching? Or are you snoring right now?
Just a quick tangent. I hate that when you're binging because it just feels so condescending. Like, are you still watching? Really?
See, I love it because every time it's nope, I'm gone.
I get it for Voyager because that's a 55-minute or 42-minute show
40,
or whatever. Yeah. When it's the 3rd episode of The Office, you're I can easily watch 4 of these in a night.
True.
And you're just shut up. Sorry, go ahead. So you're falling asleep to Voyager.
Yeah. So usually it's I wake up, I usually watch maybe a quarter of an episode before I pass out.
Mm-hmm.
So I wake up, 3 episodes pass by. So Kes?
Yep.
Yeah, I woke up and the next episode I watched, she had long hair. And I was like, what the heck happened? And I had to go through the episodes and rewatch it to figure out why. I mean, they explain it, but it doesn't really explain it. Because it's an episode where she's it starts off and she's old, she's dying. And then she's basically traveling backwards in time.
Right. I'm trying to remember. I do remember because she only lives to 9 years old or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it starts off
her species does. She looks like an adult, but
Ocampa, I think is the.
Don't really care.
Okay, whatever. But yeah, because she travels back in time through she passes out, comes to, and she's in a different year, but she's
right. Yeah, and then in that episode, doesn't she have a baby and she doesn't remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she goes back to, I think, when she's 3 years old, which is current timeline for what I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
And the previous episode, she had short hair. And then all of a sudden she was oh, it's because she's traveled back in time. It's the future. That's why she has long hair. But no, it's the same year.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. I think maybe the actress was just tired of wearing that fairy wig.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's a pixie cut.
It's a pixie cut. That's right.
There you go.
You liking Voyager?
I love it.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
People always tell you oh, Deep Space Nine is if you exclude TNG and the original series, people are if you have to choose between Deep Space Nine and Voyager, 100% Deep Space Nine because it's just more exciting. Yeah. But that's not the reason I watch Star Trek. I watch it for the exact reason that Voyager is
for
the model of Voyager and TNG, which is more you're exploring,
to seek out new life and new civilizations.
Yeah,
boldly going where no man's gone before.
I am no man. Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Shut up, Josh.
Yes,
how are you?
What? You're allowed to make references.
How was your week? Yeah, good.
It was okay. It feels short because I just saw you 3 days ago.
Yeah,
but it was okay. Started a new contract.
Ooh.
They hired me, I think, just a little bit too early. I have nothing to do. So it's a season 2 of a show I already worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And so they called me in for a meeting. It was an hour and a half long. And I was the only one in the meeting who had been there before.
Oh,
so they were the supervisors were there for season 1, but they're explaining the show to new animators.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so here's the main character. This is what she's all about. And I'm just oh, why do I have to be here for this? And luckily I work from home. So I was just calling in so I could do other stuff while they were talking. But
just
it was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the highlight.
The highlight of the week was something boring for you.
I mean, as far as doing stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they were So we're having like 2 weeks of rollout. So here's all these documents you can read to get to know the show a little better, which I read when I did season 1. And it's like, here's a few scenes you can play around with the characters. It's like, I already know these characters pretty well. Worked on the show for 1.5 years. And so it's just like the first episode doesn't start for 2 weeks. It's not due till October. So it's like,
Dude.
oh, so I have one scene I can work on that's not due till October. I think I'm going to draw or something. I don't know. I'm going to watch Mindhunter on Netflix.
Is that a good show?
I'm really enjoying it.
I watched the first episode, and that was back in the summer, last summer. And I remember being like, you know what, this is potentially like something that I'll watch next. But I just never got around to it. But now like everyone's talking about season 2 now.
Yeah, it's a really interesting show. It's as the name suggests, it's not like very action heavy. It's about these
hunting mines.
Yeah, actually.
Ooh.
No, it's about these FBI agents. I think it's the late 60s maybe or early 70s.
70s, I think.
Well, anyway, this is when they're just starting to classify serial killers and realizing that there's a pattern to the psychology behind someone who kills more than once.
Yeah.
And so it's about the agents and therapists who are like trying to create a basis of so that they can act on that information and recognize a pattern before it becomes a pattern and stuff like that. So it's really interesting that way, but I could see how some people would be like, this is a really talky show. Because it's a lot of like them going to prisons and interviewing psychos. And
how would you say it compares to what was that buddy cop show that was on Netflix for a while? Had Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, True Detective.
Yeah, how does it compare to that? Like in terms of pacing.
It's kind of similar.
Oh, okay, I'll enjoy that.
Yeah, there hasn't been any action scenes that I can remember. I'm only in the end of season 1, so yeah, there hasn't been really much, and I don't think there's going to be too much of a climax of them like having a showdown with a serial killer. They've been kind of teasing this guy throughout the season. Yeah, but I don't imagine it will be like a huge thing. But who's to say? I don't know. Oh, cool. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really well acted. I was watching an episode today at lunch, and the one agent who's kind of that classic man's man, like doesn't really connect with his family because he was taught with a belt to not show your feelings, you know, and
you just gotta bottle up till it kills you.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's having a fight with his wife about their son. His son had found a picture of one of the murders in his office. And so
he drew a bunch of mustaches on it, wipe his butt with it. No. That's evidence, son. Can't do that.
No, he was, and so he like kind of threw a tantrum like while his wife was confronting him about it. And he was like, this is what I don't show you. And he like goes into his files. He's like, look at this one. This guy, raped this girl and then drowned her. And then look at this one. This one cut off the breasts and buried them. And like, he's going through it. I'm just watching the scene. And I'm just like, oh, this guy just needs a hug. And the end of the scene is his wife hugs him. And I'm like, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Everybody's crying but me.
I just bit into a hot pepper. I just need a minute.
I don't know why, but like when you said hot pepper, I remembered I have ice cream in the freezer. I'm going to crush that when I get home.
Eat some supper, Victor.
No. Tell me what to do. A grown ass man.
I'm drinking a Manhattan tonight because it is my father's birthday this week. That's his favorite drink.
Oh, yeah?
It's in honor of him.
You sent him a picture? Like, look, Dad.
He won't care.
Suck it. Did you also buy the rowing machine?
In honor of him?
In honor of your dad's birthday?
No. That's in honor of me pretending to work out.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, Victor, we've been talking for 10 minutes. Should we get into the news?
Yeah. Seems like there's quite a bit this week.
Yeah.
Well, at least some big ones.
Yeah. Let's get through the little stuff first, and then we'll talk about the big news of the week.
All right.
Oh, they finally announced when Disney Plus is coming out in Canada. November, actually. November 12th. It'll be for $8.99
That's
Canadian.
Not the worst, but
no. I mean, it's better than Netflix.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of expecting $7.99, but
okay.
I guess they have a Fox, so they have a bunch of shows on there.
Well, yeah, like I think we talked about like they're putting every episode of The Simpsons on there.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It was like what, 30 seasons?
Something
close
like
to
that.
it. Yeah,
25 maybe.
Last I heard it was 25. But I don't know. I don't remember when I got that information.
Anyway, so yeah, that's coming out in Canada November 12th and the Netherlands And then in Australia, New Zealand, November 19th. That's the only countries they announced so far.
Dang, China. What's going on?
UK doesn't get it, I guess, until later.
Yeah.
But I guess D23 is this weekend, so maybe they'll.
Oh, is
they'll,
it?
They'll announce.
I thought that passed already.
Speaking of streaming services, Victor, Apple TV Plus also announced their streaming service is coming in November as well.
There's too many streaming services.
I know. It'll be $9.99, probably US dollars. They didn't really specify, but usually when they don't specify, it's American.
Yeah, selfish bastards.
Imagine just for no reason, they're just like, it's in euros.
9.99 euros. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out, North America.
They may have a free trial though on theirs, so you could do it for a month or whatever.
Wait, Apple, what are they gonna have?
They have a bunch of shows coming out.
Is it like exclusive to them?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Of course it is. Otherwise, why would?
Well, I was hoping it was like a useless streaming service that I won't have to invest in.
I don't think I will. There's one show that looks really good. They released a trailer for called The Morning Show, and it's
that a radio show?
It's got Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon. It's like just like a news show where Steve Carell gets fired for whatever reason, and Jennifer Aniston is slowly being replaced by Reese Witherspoon. Which it kind of sounds boring when I say it out loud, but it looks really interesting and really good.
It's that spoon, man.
The spoon?
It's the spoon. That's how you get better jobs.
I'm missing the reference.
Reese Witherspoon.
It's so dumb.
I know. I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Oh, okay. So that show looks good. I don't know if it's enough for me to buy it though. But
yeah.
But they're like just spending so much money on TV shows. Like everybody is. Everyone's like, buy our streaming services. We spent billions of dollars on stuff. So please buy our streaming service.
And the next set of news, Matrix 4.
Yeah. So yeah, Matrix 4 is coming from Warner Brothers. Lana Wachowski is coming back, but not Lily Wachowski.
I don't know who that is.
So they were the original directors of the Matrix trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Writer-directors. So only one of them is coming back. But Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss are coming back as Neo and Trinity, respectively. Both of them died, though.
Yeah, you know what I was kind of thinking about this? Like, for the plot, it'd be kind of cool if it was like, because, you know, the Matrix is like, oh, this is a program, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember how the Matrix ended. It's like that they just decided not to do reboot the Matrix.
They made a peace between the humans and the machines.
Yeah.
And then I think they rebooted the Matrix because the Smith had gone through and ruined all the coding, right?
Yeah. So imagine they rebooted the Matrix, but then Neo just knows. He just remembers for some reason. He remembered everything.
Okay.
And then it's almost like they're redoing the Matrix. It's almost like it looks like they're redoing the Matrix trilogy, but then he's just, because he knows everything, he can just kind of skip through it all and explore it with all that prior knowledge. Huh?
But how does that bring Trinity back? Because she died.
Well, they rebooted it so that she would.
But she's a real person. She's not a program. They can't redo her. I mean, it's a cool idea, but that's the
she's
flaw.
She's just an avatar.
How do you feel about the Matrix movies? Because everyone tends to be like, the first one's awesome.
Yes.
And then the other two kind of suck.
They blend together for me. I don't remember what happens in either of them. I don't remember. Like, I know I've watched them all. I know the scenes in them because like they're very memorable. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember any order.
Okay. I'm okay with the second and third. I don't love them. Second one is a heck of a lot better than the third, but the first one is so great.
Yeah. They could have just ended the first one, left it at that for me.
Well, yeah, I don't think they were maybe thinking about getting sequels because they kind of ended it. Mm-hmm. I guess it was open-ended, the way they ended the first one, but.
When's that supposed to come out?
I don't know. I didn't write that down, but I don't know how I feel about it because I'm like kind of excited to see them back, but it's also like they killed the two people they announced coming back are characters who died. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know when they're going to set it. Like maybe they set it between 1 and 2.
What? But they're so old now.
Yeah. And
it'd be I don't know. Like I still, maybe Maybe they're like, oh, these guys were so cool. Let's just upload them into the Matrix. We have all the data on them.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Or maybe they're the machines this time.
What?
What a twist.
What a twist. That would be a twist.
Very twisty.
I don't know. Okay, moving on. Michael Rooker also has joined Fast and Furious 9.
Ooh.
Along with Vin Diesel, Charlize Theron, and John Cena.
I forgot about John Cena.
Yeah, that's it for that.
Michael Rooker, though, that should be interesting.
He kind of fits in that universe.
Yeah. Bald white dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, of the people that they have cast in those movies, with the exception of maybe Charlize Theron and Helen Mirren, all of them are like, yeah, I kind of can't see you doing anything else.
Oh, no. It's not a good thing to think.
I feel like Michael Rooker kind of just fits right into it. Same thing with, what's his name from Walking Dead? The guy with the crossbow.
Oh, Daryl. But yes.
What's his action?
I have no idea.
Okay. He kind of feels like, yeah, you kind of can't do anything else.
It's the hair. Because
he just has that like heavy metal kind of gearhead vibe,
Yeah.
Where it's like, I can't really take you seriously as a cop or like maybe a criminal, maybe a junkie, but like not really.
I'd be curious though, because like I would have said the same thing about like Chris Evans.
Really?
Like doing a serious role, because like, well, this is before Cap. It's like all the movies I've seen him in was always been like kind of goofy. He's the comic relief. So like
Ryan Reynolds light a little bit.
Yeah. And so like, I don't know, it'd be cool to see Daryl.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, there you go.
Came to me.
Yeah, nice.
Came to me in a vision.
But like, I don't know, it'd be cool if he because like he only has one look right now through all of his movies he's done.
Yeah.
Except for Boondock Saints.
By the way, I'm gonna start some fires right now. That movie sucks.
Does it?
I don't like that movie.
I don't remember that.
Come at me.
I remember loving it, but like I was also 12.
Exactly.
Oh no.
You know what? I'll give you that. I haven't watched it since then.
Nice.
But
maybe
I remember just hating it. And then all these people be like, yeah, Boondock Saints, so great. And you're like, I don't remember that movie sucking, but whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to see him like in a different role with like a different look.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's it. Maybe it's just because he has to have that long hair and that scruffy beard. Clean him up.
He just looks like a crack addict. He looks
reasonable.
like Jesse Pinkman on his worst day.
Just grows out all that hair. Wait, doesn't Jesse Pinkman get like long hair at some point? You know what?
Yes.
Not important. Moving on.
Okay. This one I'm pretty excited about. They announced this week Kevin Smith is headlining a show, Masters of the Universe Revelation, for Netflix. So he is show running it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is made by the studio who did Castlevania. Oh, I piqued your interest.
Uh-huh.
And it's supposed to take place after the original show. It's supposed to be like continue it, because I think it ended on a season 5 and it kind of ended abruptly, and there's still some story elements there.
Well, that's unfortunate because I've never seen the original series.
Yeah, I was always more of the 2003 Masters of the Universe.
Never seen that either.
Oh, but so you have no...
I've seen them, but like I never watch more than like 2 episodes at a time.
Okay.
Like consecutively. I don't like, I'm all over the place.
I love He-Man. My grandma used to have He-Man toys, and we had no idea who they were when we were growing up.
Oh, okay.
So we were just playing with them. And like, this guy's cool. I think we had some. I think we have a Skeletor.
Best character.
I remember we had Snout Spout, the elephant.
There's an elephant?
Yeah. My grandma had Mecha Neck. She had Stinkor.
Terrible names, by the way.
Oh, these are fantastic names, Victor. She had a Moss Man, I think. I don't think we had an Evelyn. Maybe we did. I don't know. Who's to say? Doesn't matter as well. So there's that. Go ahead.
So the studio that did Castlevania is doing that?
Yeah, they're doing the animation.
Did they say when they were going to start shooting it? Or if
I think they're writing it right now.
Okay. Because that studio is also doing the Devil May Cry series.
Oh, okay. So that's probably the next project they're doing.
Yeah. Because I was like, how does that line up?
But studios can do more than one project at a time.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. For some reason, I just think about that studio. I just assume they're like a smaller studio. But
yeah, I get that. But I'm really excited about that. I love Masters of the Universe.
I'm excited now.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to talk about that underwater trailer?
Sure.
It's a Kristen Stewart movie. It looks like a horror.
Yeah.
Of some kind.
Yeah. What? So they're like on a underwater base at the bottom of the ocean. What are they digging a hole?
I'm sure it's something
Yeah,
to do with mining. It's either mining or research. Why
That's all
else
they
would you
do
go to
down
the
there.
bottom of the ocean?
Yeah, they uncover something and creatures start attacking them.
This is like the
Destroying their
prequel,
base.
the Pacific Rim.
Oh, that would suck. Why are they so small? Yeah, I don't know. I like the cast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a lot of them. I don't know a lot of them, but like they just based on the performances from that trailer, looks pretty good.
I watched a lot of trailers this week. Was Corey Stoll in that one?
No idea.
From Ant-Man, bald guy.
I don't think so.
All right. Anyway, it looks like a good movie, but it looks like one I might skip. And the reason why is I am terrified of dark water. That is one of my legitimate fears of like being grabbed or taken down into water that I cannot see what's going on.
Dark water or trying to find your way through like a dark, huge dark basement in a house that you've never been in.
No, dark water.
Like that'd be the worst. That'd be the one you'd avoid?
Yeah.
Or you'd take the dark water?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dark basement. I like there's some tactileness to it. I'm in control of myself.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, there could still be like something that could grab you, but
Yeah,
you're in your element. You know what I mean?
that's fair. Like a man-made structure.
Like if something grabbed you, you still might have something of a chance because you're still like you're on your 2 feet and
Yeah.
like you understand your limits a little bit more, I guess.
Mm.
Whereas water, like if something's grabbing you, you are in their home turf.
That's fair. Okay, that's a very reasonable one. Yeah. Okay.
And
Makes
also,
sense.
I mean, there's sharks and crocodiles and stuff. And I don't like.
Wait, why
any
are
of
the
those.
crocodiles down there?
Not in the ocean, but I mean like dark water. Like
That's
I'm
fair.
legitimately afraid of crocodiles and alligators and sharks.
Yeah, you should be. Those are killing machines.
Yeah. And dark water's the worst. And we should put lights in all of the lakes
You know,
and the oceans.
I don't know if that's a lot of lights.
Yeah,
that's
there's
a lot of lumens
lights.
you're gonna have to start bumping.
Or, I could just do the easy thing and not go anywhere near it.
Would you go on a cruise? Like a cruise ship?
Yeah, probably.
Is it not?
I mean,
free?
it's just more like I wouldn't go swimming.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been on one.
But even then, like in the ocean, depending on where you are, like you can see your legs and stuff like that. It's when you're in like dark, like lake water or whatever.
I'm just picturing we went out on like a small little boat ride, but like on the way back, it was dark.
Mhm.
And like we were going back up to the cruise ship and it was so dark. Like all you could see was like anything that moon lit up after that. It's just like a layer of black water below you.
Yeah. Yeah, that would freak me out. Like my parents had a pool when we were growing up and I would still swim at nighttime,
Mhm.
but like I would look in the deep end and like for half a second, you would like imagine shapes in it or whatever. You'd be like, there's a shark in there. And you'd be like, there's no shark in your pool, idiot. But at the same time, you're like, but maybe I'll just stay this shallow end just in
But
case.
what if there was? I'd feel so stupid if there was and I just ignored it.
Yeah, your mind plays tricks on you. So.
Mindhunter.
Well, Victor, should we talk about the huge news of the week?
Yes. I had nothing smart to say, so let's go.
All right. Spider-Man is out of the MCU, possibly.
Not for sure, but
Yeah.
as of now, that is the current decision.
So I got to preface this by saying, just like everyone else on the internet, we are experts in film deals and litigation. And
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
we know everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, no doubt.
And this is not at all based on hearsay or articles of articles of articles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know anything about this. And it's changed so much since it first announced.
Yeah, Sony and Marvel keep like chiming in because people are upset.
Well, there hasn't been any official comment from Marvel or Disney, but like people are like,
so
I'm an insider with Disney and they're saying that what Sony said is total BS. But yeah.
Sorry, maybe we should just like break it down.
Sure. So if you're unaware, Marvel Studios makes the MCU movies, does not actually own Spider-Man and his affiliated characters. So he is on loan from Sony Pictures. And back in 2015 or something like that, they made a deal where Spider-Man could appear in MCU movies and MCU characters could appear in Spider-Man movies. And I believe the deal was Marvel's creative team controls makes all the creative decisions for the solo Spider-Man movies. Sony pays for the entire movie. but they don't get any of the profits other than 5%
Yeah.
of the total gross. And
Sony gets the rest, right?
And Sony gets the rest.
Yeah.
And then if Spider-Man appears in, say, the Avengers, Sony gets none of that money.
Yeah. And I think also for the Spider-Man movies, was it Marvel or Disney gets 100% of the merchandise sales?
Yeah, but I don't think that has necessarily to do with their deal. I think that was originally at one point, like Sony was in some hot water and they sold the merchandising rights back to Marvel at one point. But anyway, so just after Far From Home came out, I believe that was the end of the original contract that they did. So they came back to renegotiate, and Disney came back with, allegedly, we will pay for 50% of it, but we want 50% of the profits.
Mm-hmm. And
Sony was like, I kind of like the deal that we have. Let's just do that. And they're like, no, we're going to do this deal or whatever you counteroffer. And they're like, we're not even going to bother to counteroffer. Let's just walk away.
Just drop the mic, leave.
Yeah. Now that's all hearsay. That's from quote unquote insiders and stuff like that. There has been no real official statements. Sony did one that kind of put the onus on Kevin Feige and said he's really busy right now and he can't help us. So we're moving on without him.
Yeah, that's a smart decision. How do you feel about this? Like the whole decision, this whole situation?
It's dumb. I think it was a Hollywood Reporter that said this is a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
Like everyone is kind of attacking Sony and saying that this is their fault. But I kind of like Disney's not completely not at fault.
Yeah, because like it's not their character. Sony's kind of doing them a favor. Well, they're doing each other a favor. But yeah, they should feel like 50-50 is a bit much.
Mm-hmm. And then there's been other articles since then that have said that they originally went for 30% instead of 50. But like, again, who's to say? And it's kind of crappy timing for both of them. D23 is about to happen this weekend.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want when you're there promoting your other movies is all the reporters being like, so what's going on with Spider-Man? And then the other thing is people are really mad at Sony, and there's even a hashtag boycott Sony. And Sony's about to try to re-release Spider-Man Far From Home with extended footage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, is that really worth it now? I think it's dumb. I also think it's far from over.
Yeah.
Even though that it's kind of said it's done. I feel like I had this thought, and then a few of the movie talk shows I watched confirmed the same thinking. Is that I feel like they're negotiating in public.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to use fan, whatever you would call it, but like they're trying to like get the fans on one side or the other in order to be like, hey, look at this. Cause like when they announced this thing, or like when the news broke, Sony lost a ton of money in their stock.
Oh, really?
Like it went down a few points.
Damn, time to buy some Sony.
So I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's pretty dumb, but I don't know. Like I don't agree that like I feel like maybe Disney should get a bit more than 5% of the actual gross.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, they're not fronting any of it. And if anything, this should just be like, it feels like a side project for them just so they can use him in like their Avengers movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe 5% is a bit low. But I don't know. I don't know what the right number is, obviously, because like,
yeah,
not really in that room.
So you don't think they should just stick with the deal they already had? Like you think that Disney deserves more?
Honestly, I think Sony or Disney has enough money from their other stuff, and I think they've used Spider-Man so well in Infinity War and like Civil War and all that. So like the fact that they can use him the way they've used him, yeah, maybe they should have just stuck with the original deal.
Well, yeah, and at the end of the day, too, it's like giant corporations fighting over more money than I will ever see in my life.
Yeah,
and it's
pretty dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but
I do agree. I'm pretty sure this is far from over because like, yeah, you know what? Because Sony was saying at one point like, yeah, you know what? We're comfortable. I think with the success of Venom, and Venom's such a terrible example. Venom and like Into the Spider-Verse. Like, oh yeah, we know what we're doing. It's like, no.
Yeah, I don't know if you do. And I mean, in a world where James Gunn can get hired back, yeah, like I feel like they can come to some sort of agreement. I hope it's not before the next Spider-Man movie goes into production. But yeah, I've also heard talks that John Watts, the director, has not been signed on for number 3. I've also heard, don't know how true it is, that Tom Holland has an option to return to number 3. He has an option to opt out of it.
Oh, really?
So if they do end up making a Spider-Man 3, I kind of hope that it's not with Tom Holland. You know what I mean? So it's not like
outside of so our Spider-Man is non-existent, and then the Spider-Man 3 is just like separate altogether, just visually as well.
Yeah, and then when that one, fails, they go back to Marvel. And they can actually make a good Spider-Man 3.
Like, I'm not saying that Sony can't make a good Spider-Man movie, but like they haven't proven they could make a good one either. Like Venom.
Not in a while anyway.
Yeah. Like Venom wasn't that great. I don't know why people like I think the reason, if you look at just numbers, like people are like, oh yeah, it's Venom. Venom's awesome. Let's go see that movie. And that's probably where majority of the money came from. Because like I don't remember it getting great reviews.
We hated it. So that means everyone agrees with us, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
They have to. And like Into the Spider-Verse, it's animated. It's so
just
different.
A different realm too, yeah. But yeah, and I don't want to speak for him, and I don't want to seem like I'm like a Marvel shill, but I feel like Kevin Feige is not okay with what's going on, and he has a lot of say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's going to push his weight around and get this done, because again, as I said, like it's a lose-lose situation for both of them creatively. Like Tom Holland's Spider-Man is so entwined with the MCU.
Yeah.
For it to like suddenly not mention anything would be so weird. And then on the flip side of it, like Marvel going through, like we don't know if Spider-Man was set to appear in like Shang-Chi or something like that or whatever.
Yeah, like he's so embedded into like that MCU universe for the next movie. If he's out of it, Sony's going to lose all the references, all the stuff that they built up, being like Stark's replacement, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then for Marvel's side, it's like, oh, you remember that Spider-Man kid that like everyone was like pumped about? Yeah, we're just not going to mention him ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird situation.
Especially like how Far From Home ended.
Yeah.
Like for them just to drop it, it's like, yeah, it's like when your TV show gets canceled. Man, I was so pumped for Spider-Man 3. Although I will say all the memes about all this have been pretty great.
Like the one was like what, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Homeless being the third one. Or like
my favorite one was I love that Sony is keeping up the tradition of screwing up the third Spider-Man movie.
Stupid. I wish he wasn't as popular as he was. Because how many like reboots have we had Spider-Man in like 20 years?
This would be the third one, yeah.
Just do a new Spider-Man. Screw it. Just have a new Spider-Man and Venom.
We don't want to see a third Spider-Man. Actually, apparently Uncle Ben was trending on Twitter. And it's all these people making jokes about like Uncle Ben, like hearing about another reboot coming. And he's like, it's like the Jordan Peele, like him sweating bullets. Like,
want to die a fourth time, sir?
Yeah. Anyway, we will keep you updated on that. I mean, if you're going to our podcast for news, I feel sorry for you.
Good choice.
We'll obviously keep talking about it as more details come out. But
yeah.
Well, should we move on, Victor?
Yeah, let's move on. So this week we went back in time, a simpler time, where Marvel only had 2 movies out.
Yes.
Incredible Hulk. What year did it come out? 2008?
2008. Same year as Iron Man. Same summer.
Iron Man 1 came out 2007, didn't it?
2008.
Oh, wow. Clearly I have my numbers wrong.
Yeah, clearly you do. No,
but yeah, Incredible Hulk.
Incredible Hulk. Yeah, starring Edward Norton, William Hurt, Liv Tyler, Tim Roth.
Who?
Ty Burrell, Tim Blake Nelson.
I thought you were just pulling these names out without looking at anything. It's pretty impressive.
Martin Starr.
Is that
Lou Ferrigno?
I don't know. I can't confirm any of these. I don't know.
Yeah, we went back and watched that. How was it for you, Victor?
Better than I remember, actually.
Yeah.
It's very watchable. Yeah.
I feel like this is the worst MCU movie, but it is not the worst movie in the MCU, if that makes sense. Like it's very much off-brand of Marvel, of what Marvel is now, but is in no means make that a bad movie.
Yeah. It's funny. It could be very similar to Iron Man 1. but like I don't know, just has that Marvel humor that this one didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's off.
Well, I mean, and so that's what happened. This movie came out the same summer as Iron Man, and Iron Man was like the runaway hit, and so they're like, let's do more of that.
Yeah.
Because Hulk just it did okay.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. I think it was number 1 on its opening weekend, but it didn't like do gangbusters or anything like that. But which is funny because at that time, the Hulk was the sure thing. Out of all the movies that Marvel announced, Hulk was the one that everybody knew.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that weird to think about?
Oh, you know what's weird to think about? Going to this, I thought for some reason this was connected to was it Jim Lee? Ang Lee's Hulk. So I remember thinking like, oh, this is gonna suck.
Well, I think that's what it started as, maybe that it was a sequel to that, but it was, I don't know. There's been different reports, but
yeah, back in like 2008, I didn't watch trailers for movies. I just found out that things were playing. I'd be like, oh yeah, I got nothing to do.
Yeah. Well, should we break down the plot real quick?
Yeah, sure.
There's not really that much of a plot. It's just that Bruce Banner has become the Hulk, and he's on the run from the military, trying to find a cure.
And the military develops their own version of Hulk to fight the Hulk, and we get the Abomination. Yeah, that's actually about it.
It's a fairly simple plot, but
yeah,
it works. So yeah, I like that we start this movie kind of in the middle of the story.
Yeah, like
this isn't an origin movie per se.
No. If anything, they show you the origin in the opening credits.
Yeah,
nice. But I like that.
I like that a lot too. Like that you're being not so much introduced to characters, but you're being reintroduced to characters. And I think that was just like how popular the Hulk was at that time. Yeah. And I don't know how true it is, but like whether or not it was supposed to be a sequel to Ang Lee's Hulk. But like people knew the origin of the Hulk. You didn't really need to retread that.
Yeah. You know, if they did that for Spider-Man, you remember how they did that for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies? Like the second and third one, they would do like
They had those
illustrated recap of the previous movies.
Oh, who's those? They had those beautiful Alex Ross paintings. Oh, I loved them.
Were they? No, they weren't Alex Ross.
Oh, they were Alex Ross.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because it looked like. Oh, I guess because it looked like they were like color penciled. Or were they paintings?
They were paintings. He works in gouache.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like if they did something like that for like the next Spider-Man reboot that's just going to come, it will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or it just starts with like the Into the Spider-Verse thing. It's like, okay, let's do this one more time. It just goes over the origin real quick. Like, there you go. Here's your new Spider-Man played by Michael Keaton.
What? The Vulture is Spider-Man?
Anyway, sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, even the way they did it was really cool because it wasn't just like you get like shortcuts of scenes and stuff. Like, you know, that you did see him go into the machine. You understood that he's in something that like turns him into this monster, and you get why General Ross is upset, and you know who Betty is. Mm-hmm. So it explains a lot in like what, a minute and a half?
Yeah. As long as the opening credits are, yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's even like Easter eggs in the credits. There's a Stark Industries logo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned Nick Fury in the credits.
The Stark Industries one's it's that giant Sonic tank.
Yeah. Actually, I really like this because I remember seeing this and I knew that it was connected to Iron Man. Yeah. And I brought my friend who had no idea, but he really liked Iron Man, and he's not like a comics guy. And so he was my go-to movie buddy back then. And so we were watching it in the opening credits, and he was like, "Oh, Stark Industries." And I was just like, "Oh, you noticed." Like, and that was like the start of like the public becoming aware of all these references. And so like
I 100% missed out on the first viewing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not even just like that we start in the middle of the story. I like that there's that like romantic relationship with Betty, but it's not like they have a meet cute in the movie or whatever. Like it's like they used to be lovers and they come back and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're back in my life. And like, where have you been? And
just on this wet bridge.
Yeah.
Sulking around.
I mean, I just think that's more interesting, and at least it's different from like even take all the other Marvel movies where
all
it's
the other
like,
origin movies.
Like they're meeting each other in those ones. And it's the start of their relationship where I love that they have like all this history together already.
Yeah. It's a good change.
Yeah.
Well, not really a change. That was the first one to do it. It's
Yeah,
also,
I mean, yeah. And that's funny too. It's like, I don't know what I was going to say, actually. It's not funny. Sure. Moving on. So yeah, so this one, it's different from the other Marvel movies.
yeah, it's closer to like if you were to take Batman Begins and Iron Man, I'd say on that scale, it would be closer to Batman Begins.
Yeah, I was going to say like it's more Winter Soldier-y, but it's even a little bit grittier than that.
Yeah.
Per se. Like it's kind
Well,
of
even Winter Soldier, they still toss in jokes.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
levity there, yeah. And I mean there's still like I guess there's still the superhero antics and stuff like that in that movie too.
Because this one's pretty like, nitty gritty. Like, crap, well, they at the beginning of the movie, they're like tranking dogs. And it sounds rough.
Rough?
Rough.
Yeah, I've seen this movie enough times with enough different people that there's always one person who's just like, did he just shoot the dog?
The one guy swaps out. It goes live rounds just for that.
Yeah, it's just a little different. It's a little bit more gritty. And
I don't know if there's another Marvel movie that comes close to this. Because
really, like my mind just goes to Winter Soldier, and that's about it. But even that, as you said, it's kind of lighter.
Because like this time, they don't really like the range is like generally all serious and gritty. They don't really move into the like lighthearted stuff. Yeah. And if they do, it's not very far into it where you're laughing.
Yeah, it's dour, and then there's moments of levity, right?
Yeah. What do you think about the casting here?
The cast, I genuinely like everyone. Actually, thinking about it, I really like William Hurt as General Ross.
Yeah,
he is fantastic.
It's a good fit, visually, like physically, as a person too, like to match.
And he's like General Ross is just a great character. Like, the Hulk is one of my favorite comic book characters of all time, and a lot of it has to do with General Ross being his main antagonist for a lot of it.
Yeah,
like he's just really well written, where he's not evil per se, but like he's just
obsessed.
He just kind of he's obsessed, kind of has an agenda, trying to he's a little self-serving, but like it's under the guise of patriotism, our way of life, all that. I just like that. I think he's even lying to himself at this point. Like I think he's never forgiven Bruce for
like doing harm to
his
family.
For Betty, and like he's using his connections in the military to go after him.
Yeah, because the first time they encounter Bruce in Brazil, it's Brazil.
Yeah,
like I think prior to like going on the mission, they're like he was talking about like, oh, thanks for like pulling all the strings and stuff. So he's clearly using other people to pull strings and using his favors. Yeah, he's really committed to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably his greatest failure, maybe.
Yeah,
is letting Bruce go, and so I really like him. He is a great villain, and I hesitate to even call him a villain because he's just kind of antagonistic. Character. I like Liv Tyler. I've always liked Liv Tyler. She's literally soft spoken. She has that gentle voice, but she's so.
It's a good contrast to like Hulk.
Yeah, she's interesting. Like she's a strong woman. Like she's smart and like
she stands her own.
She stands her own, and like there's lots of times where she's like, "No, I don't think that's the best idea. Let's do it this way or whatever." And she's not just there because she's in love with Bruce.
Yeah, she's more than just a love interest.
Yeah, exactly. I really liked Ty Burrell as Doc Samson.
Oh yeah,
he's in it very briefly. If you have Incredible Hulk on Blu-ray, there's like 30 minutes of deleted scenes, and he's like throughout them. His part was largely cut out, but he is great in the movie. He plays the character Leonard Samson, I think is. Yeah, he ends up becoming some sort of supervillain to Hulk in the comics, but in some iterations, he's just a psychiatrist. And he's just cool. I like him.
Doesn't he? Wait, isn't his character like the guy with the big head?
No, that's the leader. That's Tim Blake Nelson's character.
Gotcha.
You're thinking of Dr. Stearns.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about Betty's boyfriend. He gets all muscly and like grows like green long hair and kind of looks like Fabio.
Because it has to be green.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I feel like I've looked this character up because I feel like you've probably mentioned it before.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, Ty Burrell. It's great. And this was before Ty Burrell was a thing. Like this was before Modern Family.
Mhm.
So yeah, who else? Tim Roth. He's okay. There's not much there with Emil Blonsky, but he does a pretty good job with it.
I like his character. You can like you learn a lot about him without him telling you, or well, the movie telling you about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like just his mannerism, the way he just the way he reacts to situations.
Yeah, I like him a lot more at the beginning of the movie than I do at the end.
Agreed. Because he kind of devolves a bit, becomes a basic villain.
Yeah, and his motivations aren't clear. Like it's implied that the serum that he is given is kind of making him a little nutso,
a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, and I wish they kind of leaned into that even more because it's not subtle, but it's just I just wanted more.
It'd be cool if they injected him multiple times. Like he almost had to take small doses at a time, and you can see him get more and more aggressive and violent.
Or if like they gave him his own stim pack for it, and they're like, you're only supposed to take this twice a day or something, and he starts aggressively using it. Something I don't know, but
come Thursday, he's out. He's like, no, my rationing skills are terrible.
What did you think about his transformation into Abomination? That was a weird way to say it. What did you think about Abomination?
He was fine. I think by that point, he's just a punching bag.
Yeah, that's the weakest part of the movie is the last act.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of the movie is I'd say the first act and maybe a little bit into the second act.
Like the factory?
The factory, and then him meeting up with Betty.
Yeah.
The first part, and then him meeting up with Betty. I think that's, for sure. I think that's probably my favorite part. Because the rest of it, I kind of lost interest. Not in I hate this movie now, but I just didn't care as much.
Mm-hmm. I liked that Bruce's journey. I like when movies are, you think it's about one thing, and then the character learns a different lesson than what he thought he was going to learn. So the entire time he's like, I want to get rid of this. And at the end of the movie, he learns, well, maybe I can't get rid of it. So maybe use it.
Yeah. Control it.
No, maybe not control it. Maybe aim it. That was the line. Yeah. Edward Norton. What did you think of Ed Norton?
I think of all the people in this movie, I think he's my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Not to say that he's bad. I just like the other casting better.
Mark Ruffalo?
No, I just mean all the other characters. I like the way their casting's better. I like Edward Norton. I like the way he did Bruce, but I don't know. There's something about it. I guess maybe because he's so serious. He's such a standout compared to the rest of the cast of the MCU. Yeah, if we went the route of serious tone, Dark Knight, Batman Begins, yeah, I think I would enjoy it. But knowing that he'd be going up against Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, even Chris Hemsworth, I'd be it's weird. I don't like it. Whereas the other characters, oh yeah, they would fit in. Okay, so who do you prefer, Ed Norton or Mark Ruffalo? I think Mark Ruffalo because it seems like he has a humor, he has a comedic range. Whereas Edward Norton is very, I don't see a lot of movies with him in it, but he seems like he's a very serious actor. Yeah. And I'm sure he can do comedy, but I don't think it comes naturally to him as well as it does to Mark Ruffalo. That's fair. Because I've seen Mark Ruffalo in other movies and he's not that different than the Bruce Banner that I've seen. So maybe that's why. But otherwise, I think he's great for this Hulk. If it wasn't connected, I'd be fine with it. Yeah, that's where I kind of come down with it. Comparing the two of them, I kind of can't picture Mark Ruffalo in this particular one. Because Ed Norton kind of has this quality about him where you can kind of get I could see him having a temper. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that leading to the Hulk. Or because in this origin, he's not a hero that causes the lab accident. Because in the comics, he was jumping to save Rick Jones. Yeah. And he got hit with the blast instead of Rick Jones. In this one, I think Ross says he was so sure about his findings, he tested it on himself. Yeah. And so you can kind of see that arrogance in that one. I don't really see that in Mark Ruffalo's character. Granted, he's playing the character after so many years on the run, and he's probably been humbled by that. Yeah. Where he's always angry. And that's the thing. I have a hard time picturing Mark Ruffalo angry. Yeah. I think it was at the university scene And I was like, could I picture Mark Ruffalo in this? And like, I think at first I was like, yeah, I could see him. Because like what was it, like in the Avengers movie where they're all arguing on the helicarrier? I was like, oh, okay, I could see him in this movie. But like now that you talk about it, like, yeah, I don't know if he could have pulled it off as well as Edward Norton.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to think because like the Hulk has literally turned into a cartoon character now.
Yeah.
And so I'm just imagining in that alternate universe where Edward Norton stayed on, like what the Hulk would have become. And I feel like he's a lot darker character. He never became that.
His like CG model is so different too. Like he's very like veiny and like gritty looking. Like
yeah,
he looks like his skin looks rough.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the CGI?
Yeah.
It doesn't age well. I'll say that. Now, granted, I have a big screen TV, so I can kind of see the seams a lot easier nowadays. What do you think?
I didn't think it was too bad. Like this is the first thing you notice, but like it wasn't so bad that like it distracted me.
Oh, okay.
Like I noticed it and then it immediately like fell to the back of my brain.
I think the main problem is they hadn't really nailed skin texture yet. Like they hadn't got the translucence, because the way our skin works is like skin has like a little bit of a white color to it, but it's the blood underneath that makes it the pink or whatever.
Yeah, you get like, because I was trying to remember back to school, but like, yeah, your skin tone, you have like green tones, you have purple tones, you have red, pink, blues in there, and that's what kind of makes it realistic. So
yeah, I think at that point CGI was just, this is the outside of the character, paint it that color, and I think they've literally gotten to the point now where they have like a translucence to the skin. If it's skin on a character, that's why it's becoming so ridiculous of how good CGI looks, is because they're figuring out how light reacts to different objects. Like that's like metal looked great in Iron Man that came out the same year. And that kind of holds up fairly well. That's because light reacts to metal in a very easy way as far from an artistic standpoint of recreating it. But skin is so hard to match that lighting because of the translucence. So yeah. Did you like the design of the Hulk?
I was going to say, I'm trying to find a picture, but I feel like in order to like create better realism for this Hulk, I feel like they went a little bit too much into the hair, because I feel like the hair moved a lot more than it should have.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's kind of what, because every close up of the Hulk,
it had to do with proportions for me. Like his forearms were really big or something like that. I don't know what it was. There was just something off where it's like, you don't notice it, but your brain does. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, that's not a real thing, because something is off about it. And I think it's something to do with his arms or something.
The proportions are very different compared to like the Mark Ruffalo Hulk. And also he's very like the musculature on him. He's very like sinewy.
Sinewy. Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah. Like you can kind of see, it's like Stallone and Rambo 2. Like that steroid look.
Yeah.
Which I guess he's kind of on, right?
Because you know how the current MCU Hulk, you can see Mark Ruffalo in the face of Hulk? I don't see Edward Norton in this Hulk's face.
No, I don't see it in the face. There's a few times where he does like certain poses where like, you know that part where he rescues Betty and they're hanging out in the cave and like she wakes up and she's like, ah! And he like jumps to and hits his head. And then he like stands by the cave and like puts his hand on his head and his hand on his hip. Yeah. Like just that pose, I was like, oh, that's Edward Norton. Like I've seen him do that pose before. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like his face doesn't look it at all. What'd you think about Abomination?
I like the design.
You do?
I like the color contrast between the Hulks. The Hulk's like, he's kind of olivey green, but like, no, he's definitely, I like that Abomination is very different green than like Hulk. It's hard to see what's going on in that last fight in a few scenes, but
yeah, the lighting's not very good.
No,
he kind of looks more like Beast to me than Abomination, although without the second head, because he's kind of the same color and same design. And they purposely like took the reptilian elements out of Abomination, which I kind of get. I remember seeing like
he's still pretty reptilian-ish,
sort of, like because Abomination has a tail and he has big kind of like reptile, like reptiles don't have ears, but like, you know, like kind of like fins type ears. And I remember watching a behind the scenes with a director and he said, I just couldn't do it because it's like he doesn't have any reptilian DNA in the serums. And so like it didn't make sense for him to suddenly be scaly or
Yeah,
have a
that's true.
tail or whatever. And I was like, all right, I kind of get it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to let's see.
it's an ugly design to me. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's very different
Yeah.
compared to like the comics. It's kind of he looks kind of gross in the movie. I remember thinking like I couldn't see it well in the movie, but like based on the screenshot, yeah, he's got like it looks like his rib cage is like separated.
Yeah. Like it kind of comes out and then I think there's parts of his skin that look like the skin has kind of ripped and you can just see the muscle right underneath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Like it does reflect Tim Roth a bit here. I like that.
It has his tattoos too on his right arm.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
He has Blonsky's tattoos.
That's kind of cool. That's a cool little like detail.
Yeah.
I don't know. What'd you think about him?
I think it's an ugly design, but sorry, I got the hiccups from my drink. I think it's an ugly design, but I mean, I totally get the director's point of view of why he couldn't do it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think that's why the last act is not great. It's because the designs, they tried to like go so realistic that they don't pop like from each other. Like, as you said, they're kind of hard to tell who's who.
Yeah.
And then like the lighting, it's all dark because the CGI is not great. So they have to put the lighting down to hide the seams.
And like, it doesn't help that
mistakes.
like they're all surrounded by fire. So they go from green to like a yellowy brown olive color.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just whatever. Like it ends up looking better, but
It's fine. Yeah.
it's kind of like standard. And it's not that it doesn't fit the movie, but you could have easily ended this movie in another way and it still would have fit it. Like the tone, like it's not like other Marvel movies where you're just like, I can't wait till they show down at the end.
Yeah.
Or like this one was just kind of like, and he's a monster now, so fight him.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like that was an inevitable thing that was coming.
Mm-hmm. They were just like, we have to get to this point somehow. And I guess this is it.
Because we have to have a big superhero fight at the end.
Yeah.
And his lip sync was off. Bothered me as an animator.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Just the abominations. I mean, the Hulk barely said anything, so. I liked where the movie left off, though. Like how they didn't kill off the abomination. Like Ross is
They have him under
not really in
lockdown.
that much trouble. Yeah.
I'm kind of sad we don't see him ever again.
No. And that's the thing. Like all of these characters, I would love to see more of them. And
if he just like showed up in like Civil War. No, that doesn't make sense.
Well, like Civil War and like when they go to the raft, like if he was just in the background or like as they walked by, like the security cameras, like he's in a cell.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a cool Easter egg.
Yeah.
Do it. Why not? If they do a Thunderbolts movie, he should definitely be in it.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Better CGI.
Yeah. Maybe like just make some excuse like, oh, he's been evolving over the years.
Yeah. He's got
Now he looks like a lizard. That's weird.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Did you notice, like, I'm pretty sure they filmed the university stuff. Was that UFT? Like University of Toronto?
That sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Oh, you didn't recognize it? I was like, I think that's it.
I don't know what University of Toronto looks like. Like, I don't.
You've never been?
No. Well, that's not true. I've been, but like, I don't pay attention to that.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm pretty sure this was filmed in Toronto.
I believe it.
Sure. I'll just say this too, even though it's very early MCU, I like that, like, you can kind of feel Marvel's handprints on it. Like, it's like one of those things where they've changed the character a little bit, but it serves like it's not changing.
It's beneficial to the character and not a change for the sake of changing.
Yeah. Like, so for example, I love that it's his pulse that sets off the Hulk and not necessarily that it's angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that it's just from maybe stress or from getting it on or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. It's weird that it's exactly 200 beats per minute that sets it off.
Maybe it's like 198, but you just go up to 200.
Sure.
There's a part where like at 199, he's just like half Hulk. He's like Jekyll and Hyde. Or what's that movie where they have Sean Connery as the leader?
Oh, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah. That was a terrible movie. I loved it.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Anyways.
That was Sean Connery's last movie, I believe.
Oh, that sucks.
He passed out on being Gandalf to be in that movie.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I like that they didn't show the Hulk for like the first 40 minutes.
Because, you only see... you do see a little bit of him at the warehouse, or the factory, but not really.
No, it's all in darkness and it's smoky and like it's extreme close-ups and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it's just like, shots of like the soldiers in the background, then Hulk would just walk past the screen in front of you.
Yeah, that was a cool sequence.
I like that. Because
like, let's say like you were a test audience or something and you had no idea what movie you're going to see. And you're just like, oh, this guy's, and it's just like, what is in there with them? Like, what is this? Like, I just liked, yeah.
You think I'm locked in here with you? You're locked in here with me. I got you for 2 minutes.
2 minutes of playtime.
Or was it 3?
3. I think it's
Dang
3.
it.
Bonesaw is ready.
Probably the best line in that movie.
That was Macho Man Randy Savage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you notice some of the Easter eggs in it?
Aside from that first one with Tony Stark Industries, not really.
Well, there was the pizzeria he goes to. It was Stanley's Pizzeria. Stan Lee.
No.
Okay, didn't get it. And the guy looked like Stan Lee without sunglasses. So there's that. But did you notice that Mr. Harrington from the Spider-Man movies was in this movie?
Mr. Harrington.
You know the guy with the camera he drops in the water in Far From Home?
Oh, yeah. The professor. Yeah.
He goes in the computer lab.
No, I didn't recognize him.
No, that was him.
Oh.
So it's not confirmed that it's him. I think I remember reading an interview with Kevin Feige where someone asked him that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, are they the same guy? And he's like, I'd like to think so. So could be the same guy. Could not
Tech
be.
Support.
It's just the same actor.
Yeah.
So.
Just notice that.
Is there anything you didn't like about this movie, Victor?
Aside from the abomination, the end sequence, not really. I feel like General Ross was on point with the way they wrote him. I like the tactics they used to try to bring down the Hulk, and I don't know. I like Betty's character down. I think everything was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Aside from the things we talked about, I think everything else was like pretty well done and well written.
Yeah,
nothing seemed off. The acting was like great throughout. CGI, but like I think it was fine
for the time. Yeah.
I think it's still fine now. Like it doesn't bother me. Like you notice it, but again,
I guess maybe it's like one of those things where the new Hulk looks so good that you're like, oh, why couldn't it look like?
But
this?
Even the new Hulk, like I feel like it's the same thing where like I notice the CGI, but then again, it just falls to the back of my brain. I don't think about it again. Like it's not like I'm not looking at graphics from like Battlefield Earth, that flight sequence.
Right.
So I think it works.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have some nitpicks.
Yeah. Maybe
they're really like they're not nitpicks or plot holes by any stretch of the imagination. It's just like the whole thing with Stearns at the end where they're like trying to set up the leader where like he gets hit into the wall and then like the blood drips into his cut on his head and his head kind of starts like going like, whoa,
oh yeah.
Why would that affect his brain? It's just a cut on the outside of his skull.
Does your brain not connect to the outside of your skull?
Not the outside of it.
Oh, you're a freak.
I don't know. That was just like, I was just thinking about that. It's like, it would make more sense if like he injected it into his brain or something like that. Because the leader is, in the comics, he's a version of the Hulk, but his brain is giant. He looks like the old Area 51 aliens because his head is just so huge.
Yeah.
Has a giant brain. What was the other nitpick I had? Okay. How did he get from Guatemala to Virginia? He wakes up in the jungle and he has no money. He's literally begging for money. And then he just walks from Guatemala to Virginia, just makes it across that border. Like he crosses several countries to get there.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. For some reason, he just hulked out and just jumped over there.
And he did that in about 17 days, I think it was, because they have that cool days without incident thing, so you can kind of track the timeline. I think it was like 17 days it took him.
Can you imagine being in the jungle just being murdered by mosquitoes and not freaking out into the Hulk?
Yeah, no kidding, right? Just doing his breathing the entire time. Just
check all these mosquitoes I'm eating.
So there's that. And then the other thing I had a problem with. So you know how after the university thing where Betty and him, they go to a motel and they're like going through her purse.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, we can't use any of this. We can't use the credit cards or anything like that. And she's like, well, how are we going to get anywhere with $20 cash? She's like, well, we could sell this. And it's like her mother's necklace or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I mean, we can't. Okay, fine. And so they pawn it.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I wrote down all the things that they bought.
Oh, all right.
So
really
they bought a
attention.
truck,
Makes sense.
bought gas from Virginia to New York City, bribed a boatman to take them across onto Manhattan, took a cab, and they got all this money from just one pawned necklace.
Damn.
That was an expensive necklace.
Man, she sucks as a daughter.
And I mean, assuming that they didn't buy any food.
Why would they?
Yeah. But that is all I have to say about this movie.
So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good list for.
Yeah.
I'd say this is a highly rated movie for you.
Yeah, it is actually. It's not one of my favorite movies of the MCU, but it is a pretty solid comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Hulk is one of my favorite characters. This Bruce Banner is a lot more in tune with the Bruce Banner I like from the comics than Mark Ruffalo is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I really like this movie.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same boat. Like again, I don't know the Hulk as well as you do, but like I like this version of the Hulk that we got. Because I think the MCU Hulk, he's great, but like I couldn't see him starring in his own movie because I don't think there's enough content there to keep me interested that they've presented over like the half dozen movie he's been in.
Well, it's also, he's a hard character to crack because it's kind of, it's like a Jekyll and, well, it's like a werewolf story, I guess, because it's like everyone just wants you to get to the werewolf scene.
Yeah.
But the character is actively trying not to be a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think Joss Whedon said something similar to that. I think I'm probably quoting him.
Nice.
But yeah, it's so like that, this whole movie is that, and it works for that, but it's kind of like, well, where do you go from there without repeating yourself?
Yeah.
So
it's probably a good thing that they didn't do another sequel.
Yeah. But I would love, there's like so many Hulk villains that I'd love to see more of. That, like, even the characters that were in this movie, everyone lives, I think. Yeah. So I'd love to see more. Like even if like someone needs a therapist or something and they just call up Ty Burrell, I'd love to see it. Like a scene where he just shows up and he's playing Doc Samson and then again.
They would just make a full movie of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like like William Hurt is the only actor who has returned from this movie other than Mr. Harrington. Because like even they replaced Ed Norton, right? So, Oh wait, we didn't talk about it. The universe connecting moment right at the end of the movie.
Oh, the
Tony Stark shows up.
Yeah, talks to General Ross in the bar.
Yeah, my friend flipped out when that scene happened. He did not know it was coming.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I didn't actually see that in theaters. I saw that when I got on DVD.
Oh yeah, what did you think of it?
It was fine. I think at that point I didn't really care that much because I was like, oh, okay, they're connected. Okay. They're connected, but like,
Oh,
how far is this gonna go?
See, I was much more optimistic. I was on board from Iron Man, where it's like, oh, this is connected to Iron Man. Oh man, I can't wait till Edward Norton and Robert Downey Jr. are talking to each other.
I thought about it and was like, are they gonna do a Hulk versus Iron Man here at some point? Nah, probably not. They probably won't get to that. They probably like do a few movies and then give up on it because it's gonna suck. Man,
but they did it.
They did 21 more movies,
and they did Hulk versus Iron Man.
That wasn't that great though.
You shut your mouth.
Okay.
That's the best part of that movie.
That says a lot about that movie.
There's a Marvel one shot that supplies a little bit more context to that scene because without it, you're just kind of like, so he went to General Ross to talk about recruiting the Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense. But there's a one shot that explains what's going on there. Because I think Zach Penn wrote this movie, and at the time he was writing the Avengers for Marvel, and then it wasn't until Joss Whedon came on that it was rewritten. And so it's like, that scene doesn't make any sense anymore. It's like, well, we'll fix it with a one shot.
Because he was going to recruit the Abomination?
The one shot is basically the government is forcing them to recruit the Abomination, but they don't want the Abomination. So they send in Tony Stark to ask for the Abomination, so they will say no.
Yeah.
Because they know that Tony Stark will piss Ross off.
It's a pretty good plan. That's good. That's a good fix. That's a good fix for that little accident. Error.
Yeah.
Not error. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So overall, good movie?
Good movie. I don't know how high I'd rate it in the MCU.
Okay, where does it compare to Thor 1? Because I think that's a good, like...
I haven't revisited the first Thor in a long time, but it's hard because they're like, it's like apples and oranges a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, what's better, Batman Begins or Deadpool? You know what I mean? It's like, well, they're both really successful at what they're doing.
It's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but Batman Begins is really good. So I don't know. I like this one a lot. There's no annoying Darcys in this one. So
that's fair. Yeah, I think I would rate this above Thor as well.
Yeah. That's a weird pull out of all the movies you could have grabbed, but
no, because like Thor is generally considered to be one of the lowest ranked of all the Marvel movies.
Like the franchise?
Yeah. Right down to Thor 2.
It's up there. Like, again, as I said, it's the worst MCU movie, but it's not the worst movie in the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we wrap it up there?
I got nothing else to say.
Well, thanks for listening in, guys. Has been our review for The Incredible Hulk. What did you think about the movie? Where does it fall? What?
Have you seen it? Not everyone's seen them. Some people are like, oh, that's not Mark Ruffalo? I don't need to watch that then.
Oh, I imagine people think like, oh, if I have to watch this, do I have to watch the Ang Lee Hulk?
This one is infinitely better than that one.
Yeah, but he fights 3 giant dogs. Anyway, whatever.
One of them's a poodle, though.
But yeah, let us know in the comments. And if you want to get in touch with us directly, you can email us at averageuninformed@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys again next week. Bye.
Bye.